Hey everyone, welcome to another Webflow live stream. I'm your host, Nelson. Thank you for joining me. Whew, it's been a while, and my community, my have you grown. I'm glad to be back here in a new live studio, and I'm glad you, the Webflow community, is back in the live chat right now. Um, yeah. So what are we going to be talking about during this live stream? We are doing the community quarterly live updates and live Q&A with Vlad. And speaking of Vlad, he is our first special guest on these new live streams. So let me welcome him to the stream. Vlad, our CEO of Webflow. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Nelson? It's so great to be here.
Oh, man. Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
by the way, if I'm looking to the side, I'm just like really enjoying the energy in the live chat. There's people from like Croatia and Bangladesh and Afghanistan. Uh, I'm always blown away where community members are calling in from.
Oh yeah, there's just so many people. New Zealand, yeah. Where are you all from? I saw some people before the stream. Let me see here. Where calling from? Where are they? So California, Bangladesh, yeah, Bangladesh, Nigeria, UK, South Africa. It's just amazing this global community that we have with us. Oh, it.
And by the way, like folks are saying, the studio that you're in is incredible.
I
Reminds me
know.
of the education studio. I know we're in totally separate places, but it's really wonderful to be
I
back.
I know. Ah, okay. So again, hello to everyone in the live chat. Woo, so excited. So what are we going to be talking about during this live stream? So we have five things. We're going to go over our 2021 year. So what have we been doing for the first half of the year? And what we are going to be doing for the rest of the year. Then we'll go to the Q&A with Vlad. So that's the main part. So your questions that you've pre-submitted or submitting in the live chat, we're going to get through those. And just a disclaimer, we've already received hundreds of questions. So thank you
I
so
think
much for doing
thousands.
that. Yes. And we're going to go through as many as we can. And we'll also try to get through some questions from you, the live chat. And we'll cover as much as we can on the product side. But for product announcements, we got to hold those for No-Code Conf. All right. And then we'll go over some other updates that the Webflow team has been working on and get hyped for No-Code Conf and then wrap things up. Whew. Are you ready, Vlad?
So ready. Never been more ready.
All right. Let's go to our first thing, the 2021 goals, what we've been doing and what we are planning on doing for the rest of the year. So, um, Vlad, uh, I want to start openly and honestly. There have been a few sentiments within the community. Things like, where is Webflow investing their Series B? And how is Webflow showing up for the community? And lastly, is Webflow shifting focus to just enterprise customers?
Ooh, that's a lot, and I know it's not comprehensive. I know a lot of questions are coming from the community, and you're all very much wondering what we've been up to, how we're investing, and where the company is headed. And there's a lot there. Hopefully, we can dive into so many more details as we work through questions. But just to zoom out a bit, in 2021, the Webflow team has been focused on a lot of big things. Some of them are not as visible. They might be in the background, beneath the proverbial iceberg that you might not see at above the water. One of those big initiatives has been platform. It's like the core foundation that we're building to build the rest of Webflow on. A lot of improvements there, but not always things that you can see out in the community or in the product directly. We've invested a lot in Webflow for Teams and collaboration. There's a lot more news coming there, and we've had some recent releases there. Memberships, I know many people have been talking about, and we've actually been doing a lot of work internally on figuring out how to lower the learning curve for Webflow, because we know the layout system is takes quite a bit of getting used to, and there's really a lot of sophistication to the way that you do layout and Webflow. So we've been doing work there. But I know we haven't been as open and transparent. We should have been way more open with the community, especially when we start to invest in like really, really big things like platform and in infrastructure changes and a lot of migrations that are not visible on the surface, and why those things are important. And I'll take full responsibility for this. I want to make sure we're bringing the community along, keeping you all in the loop of what's going on, not keeping you in the dark. And hopefully coming back to more live Q&As and really addressing a lot more questions from the community in this kind of format is just the first step. But we're just really, really focused on making sure that we're not keeping you all in the dark. And that first thing that I mentioned with the platform development that has been our top priority, I'm 100% confident that it's the right investment for us to be investing in. And really a lot of our funding has gone into making sure that we hire the right engineers and product leaders to really invest in those foundations. And it's setting the groundwork for literally the next multiple decades at Webflow. And while it might seem that there might not be a lot of big things coming out right now, it really is accelerating future development. And we're going to see the fruits of that labor. Some of it we're already starting to see this year. And especially you're going to start to see more and more of that through the end of this year.
So the platform development, a little bit on that. I've heard around the office called platform migration. And for some of the community members who, old and new, how would you explain platform migration? Like, why is it important for the community?
It's so important. There's remember when you first did your review of Webflow? I think you were the first person on YouTube that created a review of Webflow.
Yep.
What Webflow was at the time? It was literally a one single web page landing site builder.
No CMS builder or anything.
You couldn't even add like an about page or a contact form. It was really, really basic. And that was the foundation of Webflow. That's kind of what we kept adding on to as we built rapidly in the early stages, as we added our CMS, et cetera. And the platform work that we're really investing in over the last year is to migrate a lot of that existing infrastructure into something way more scalable that supports the foundations of all the big things that we want to build in the future, and to support the kinds of things that people are already doing in Webflow, which we never imagined. People are building way more complex things on our platform, and we really have to, sometimes we call it internally, changing the engine as the plane is flying. We have to make sure to change a lot of those foundations while not breaking anything, while also preparing for a lot of future development. And previously, building something huge like e-commerce required a lot of manual one-off development work, but these platform efforts that we're taking right now, they're really creating what we call foundational capabilities or building blocks that enable us to build both huge features like e-commerce and memberships much faster, but also smaller improvements much better, and set the stage for external developers over time to also add to Webflow's ecosystem. And one big example unlock of our platform efforts is things like memberships that we're starting to talk more about that we'll be releasing later this year.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to user logins and memberships, the community has heard about this during last year, the virtual world tour that we held.
Yep.
Ever since then, it felt like that's the only thing we've been working towards. Can you speak about this?
Like I said, there's so much more below the iceberg. We've been working on collaboration in the designer. Recently, we released Polite Handover. I don't know if you caught it on our blog, Twitter, social, etc. So there's been a lot of improvements there as a step towards something that's even bigger. There's a lot of things that.
So when it comes to collaboration, right, and you're calling it Polite Handover, there has been some in the community who thought that this was going to be something different. This feature was going to be something different, but it seemed like, and some of them thought it was more of a workflow shift than a major update. Can you respond to that?
Sure. it was a very important workflow shift, and it sets the foundation for really powerful collaboration in Webflow. We had to, in order to make that set of features possible, we had to do so much migration to create overlap between the content editor and the designer, bringing a lot more feature parity into the designer. And in order to give the ability for multiple designers to be in the same designer, whether they're somebody is editing the design side and other people are editing content, it creates really important foundations to be able to bring more and more teams into Webflow so that we're collaborating on bigger and bigger projects. And even though it might not be like the full vision of what true real-time collaboration and like multiple designer control at the same time, it is a huge step towards reducing things like potential data loss when a client and a freelancer are working on the same thing, or when multiple people on like a marketing team are working on the same content, to make sure you're not overriding each other.
Yeah.
So they're really, really important foundations. And I know there's a lot of frustration before in the community and in the Webflow user base around just how people are coordinating, not stepping over each other's changes in the designer from really complex Airtables and Google Docs. So it solves a really, really important set of collaboration capabilities, but it's also a step into a much bigger set of collaboration features that are coming later this year.
Okay, so sticking on collaboration, most community members, some community members, they think that since we're focusing on collaboration, those are usually the types of people with account plans or team account plans who use the team dashboards and like flip through different dashboards. And so those are usually like large teams or even enterprise customers. Has our focus shifted to those customers?
You mean just to enterprise customers?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. By the way, I'm getting some folks in the chat saying that I'm a little harder to hear, so I'm gonna try getting closer to the mic, and let me know if you're seeing other stuff in the chat. So absolutely not. Webflow's mission is to empower everyone to create for the web, and we are really focusing on making sure the majority of our efforts, the vast majority, are focusing on things that affect 100% of our users. And what enterprise is unlocking the ability for things that our entire community is used to doing as a freelancer, as a small agency, and as people move into larger teams, just unlocking that ability for folks to use what's special about Webflow in a larger company. And sometimes that does require really special features like single sign-on or really specific integrations with larger systems like Marketo. But it really, for us, it's another thing that, just like we look at freelancers, we look at small businesses, medium-sized business marketers, and larger companies, it's the same set of features that is presented slightly differently to different users. But at the core, it's the same foundations that we build on as a team. And there's huge progress that you might not see, things in our infrastructure and our platform and our hosting that helps everyone. There's even non-product things, like when we look at, I know a lot of people are worried about, how do I think about GDPR support? And we've recently created a pretty deep compliance FAQ where you can read through in plain English how to navigate GDPR requirements as they relate to Webflow. And I'm sure some of our moderators in the chat can share links to those resources. And there's some major stuff that we'll be announcing at No-Code Conf that I'm kind of legally prohibited from talking about without many folks getting upset. But I'm fully confident that those things that we're working on broadly are serving designers, developers, marketers, freelancers, everyone across the board, whether they're individuals, small business owners, startup owners, creators, or working at larger teams, startups or enterprises. So we want to serve everyone, and we definitely are not focusing on one over another.
Serving everyone right there. That is a lofty goal. And yeah, it makes sense. So thank you so much for the clarification on all of that. But let's get into our next section, which is the Q&A with Vlad. So again, thank you to everyone who has submitted your questions. We've received a lot, and we're going to try to go through as many as we can during this
Rapid
part.
fire.
Yeah, rapid fire as fast as we can. And you can still ask your questions in the live chat. We have some of our mods taking down your questions, and we'll put it on this list. If it has to do with product announcements, again, we'll wait for those at No-Code Conf. Vlad, are you ready for your first question?
Let's do this.
Okay, here we go. So, by the way, some of these questions have been submitted anonymously. So, if there's no name, it was submitted anonymously. All right, so first anonymous question. You've talked about user logins, but what about memberships or subscriptions? This could be huge for so many of my clients.
Yep, it's all related. 100% agree. Hope you'll join us at No-Code Conf. More details there.
Okay. This one's from Spencer. What are Webflow's plans for addressing some of the seemingly simpler updates that have been on the wish list for years and are yet to be addressed?
Okay, so a few things. I know there's thousands of things on the wish list, and we've shipped hundreds from the wish list, and we're actively investing and monitoring as a key resource of getting ideas and product input from the wish list. And we just formed a user advocacy team that is focused on listening and going into the wish list every single day. That means real humans having real conversations and every single request, trying to understand the nuance of every request, just so our product team and our engineering team really understands the problems that you're facing. And as I mentioned earlier, huge focus for us this year has been the investments in the platform and the collaboration. And right now we have to, as we take those big rocks and ship them to you, we're going to be focusing much more on the things that you see in the wish list. We are focusing, as you know, the number one wish list item right now is memberships. So that's an example of us like really listening to our community and looking at things that really matter to you and building those first.
All right. Embed editor. Can we please get wrapping? Text goes so far from the left to the right.
Love that feedback. I agree. I know it can be frustrating with lots of custom code. Let me share that with the team.
Okay. Roger's asking, I attended No-Code Conf in 2019. Oh, yeah, I remember Roger. In person.
Hopefully met in person, Roger.
Yeah, he attended in person, and really, he doesn't want to miss the 2021 event. I was wondering what the COVID protocols might be for the conference. Oh, that's a good one.
I might not be able to share all the details, but we do have them on our website, which I'll talk about in a bit. But safety is our number one priority. We're working with local officials, following all the CDC guidelines, requiring all attendees to be vaccinated. And we're creating an experience where if you're attending in person, where social distancing is not only possible, but encouraged. And the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco is such a huge venue that we're able to do that. Very safely. There's going to be hand sanitizing stations all over the place, COVID safety ambassadors to make sure everything is really safe. But I understand these things change on the fly, and it's very hard to predict. So we're going to have a very flexible cancellation policy, just so folks feel feel like they can do what's right for them. And again, whether you're joining us online, we're hoping to have tens of thousands of people there or in person. Go to No-Code Conf. At the nocodeconf.com, at the bottom, you'll be able to find a link to our COVID protocols. So Roger, hope to see you there safely, and hopefully we'll meet in person again.
Yeah. All right, from the live chat, I have Glenn Eastland. He's saying, hi, Vlad. As part of these developments, will Webflow remove or increase the limitations on the collections display of 100 and nested collections of 5? The latter is particularly restrictive. Thanks.
Yep. Hear you, Glenn. Agree here. CMS scalability is so important to us. We've invested a lot into our Webflow being the best-in-class UI builder and CMS, we have a ways to go. So we really are investing more there. We're doing a lot of technical research and performance improvements right now. So thank you for the feedback, taking it all to the team. The CMS is going to get much better.
All right, thank you. And Kevin is asking, are there any plans to allow sites to move more easily between users? Context, we do project work, not ongoing maintenance work. Ideally, when the project is done, we would transfer it to the client. If they hire us to update or overhaul later, they could give us designer access while we're under contract, but they're still in control.
I agree. This could be so much better. Right now, it's pretty tedious. Thank you for the feedback, Kevin. We're also working on something that we hinted to a little while ago on our blog called Workspaces that will help make this kind of collaboration much smoother. So again, tune into No-Code Conf.
Okay, we're going to hear that a lot. Eric is asking, how does Webflow plan to stay the dominant no-code platform with Editor X and other platforms on the rise?
We're going to keep doing what we've been doing. We really welcome the challenge. We're not worried about it. Competitors keep us on our toes. That's always been the case. It's better for the ecosystem, but we're focused on building the best-in-class platform across user interfaces, data, and even more things over time. We want to really, really, really keep investing in things that make Webflow special: speed, flexibility, control, the power that it gives designers to do the work that typically developers do, and just the magic of binding UI to data and those working really strongly together. We're going to keep doubling down on that and making it even stronger. So again, we welcome all the competition. It's great to see more people entering the space. It only helps us get better, faster.
Nice. Okay. All right. Malenko is asking, is Webflow planning to integrate more third-party integrations into its product, like heading towards a platform approach?
Yes. So creating reliable, seamless integrations is really important. Keep focus on reliable. I know a lot of people have had a lot of struggles with other platforms when it comes to plugins and things like that, especially in a no-code environment where there's not a lot of reliance on having to know how to code. And I'm honestly really impressed by the integrations our community is already building with the limited developer tools that we have available today. And there's lots I can't specifically talk about yet, but this is definitely an area we're investing a lot right now and over the next year.
Okay. Next one is from Joel. Where does e-commerce sit in the list of priorities for Webflow? We haven't seen a lot of updates to e-commerce in the past year. I often have to use Shopify for my clients, which is gutting, because Webflow is far superior in delivering a unique experience.
I hear you, Joel. Shopify has a multi-decade lead on us in some cases, and I don't have anything super concrete to announce today, especially since those teams are really heads down, building a lot of things that affect all sites and not just e-commerce sites. But I want to reinforce payments are so core to our business across not just e-commerce, but things like memberships, which will have a paid component, and our entire platform. So there's a lot of work for us to do here across e-commerce and CMS and payments that we will be doing. So thank you for the candid question and your feedback about e-commerce. I know it can be frustrating, but I just encourage you to keep investing in Webflow.
All right. Trisha is asking, is there a process you would recommend to migrate a large quantity of WordPress websites over to Webflow? We are a WordPress agency looking to move over to Webflow and trying to find the best way to make the change as smooth and cost-effective as possible. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Trisha. Yeah, this is super important for us because so many folks are dealing with this right now. Freelancers, agencies, enterprise customers. There's so many folks who recognize the power and control of Webflow, but have sites and properties somewhere else. And I know we recently had a webinar on this topic with one of our longtime Webflow experts, Almond Studio in New Zealand. I think we can drop a link, Nelson, if we can find it, into the chat. But there's a lot of tips there and strategies. It is it still takes effort. I wish we had some sort of magic process that just would import sites from other platforms, but they are so vastly different that it does take some effort. But it's so worth the effort. Once you put in that migration cost, it really becomes so much easier with Webflow after that.
All right, all right. What's the actual deal with multi-language? You said this 2 years ago in a previous stream. What gives?
Yeah, I have to own that. I think it was 2 years ago in one of these streams that I mentioned some timeline around multi-language, and we've had to make some major trade-offs to focus on other areas, to be honest. And I stand behind those new investments, but me committing on this stream before to this community that we have before we had really a locked timeline and a close to finished product was honestly a mistake. But we all want this. I know so many people in the community, so many people at Webflow, so many people across, so many of our customers really want this, and we hear you loud and clear. We don't want to ship something second rate. That's all I'll say. It's really important for us. I just can't commit to anything right now, unfortunately.
Okay. Nina is asking, will there be an expansion of features on Webflow CMS functionality anytime soon?
Yep, I think I alluded this a little bit earlier. CMS is huge for us. Webflow started as a UI builder and a landing page builder. And that's really our bread and butter, our core competitive advantage, bringing the power of all the CSS properties that developers typically use and having a really powerful interactions, animation engine. But with data, with our CMS, it just takes it to a whole nother level of not just complexity, but power that people really need to solve real business problems and have so much more content presented well on a website. So we're just scratching the surface with our CMS of what's possible. It's a huge priority for us to improve. You should expect, this community should expect our CMS to become as world-class as our UI features. So we know we have a lot of work to do there, and it's a big priority for us for sure.
All right. This next question, I want to give you a whole hour to answer, and it's from Sean. So this is a very deep question. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Ooh, that's Monty Python, right? I think it's 7. It's 7. Final answer. Next question.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Sean. From the live chat, James Darbar, he's asking, hey, my question is related to the partner program. Is there any new partner perks and benefits are going to roll out in the near future?
We're actively looking at ways to improve our partner program. Please reach out to your contacts at Webflow to share any of your concrete feedback or what make the program better for you. Building out our partner program is so essential to the success of our community and our customers, and it just creates such cohesion between many of our customers, many larger companies that need the help and support of our partners, and smaller companies that are not familiar with Webflow that need help from many of our partners and experts. So we really are invested into this program. We want to make it better. So please don't hesitate to share your feedback of like what would make it more beneficial for you, what would make you more inspired, more enthusiastic about being part of the partner program.
Okay. Another anonymous one. What's new on the front of interactions with Webflow? I love to have interactivity on my website. Anything new coming down the pipeline?
Interactions. Well, first of all, I'm constantly blown away by what people are building with interactions.
Same.
Sometimes I see sites, they're like, whoa, what is this? This must have taken, 10 engineers to build. Yes, more is coming, not just simplification, but just as important, we're also working on some accessibility improvements to give visitors the ability to reduce motion when that's their preference, without a lot of manual work from designers in the designer. We don't have any committed release dates yet, but it's an area that we're looking at.
All right. Yeah, I'm impressed by everything that the community is creating with interactions already, and to give them more tools. I mean, What else? What else? All right, so this one is from Tim. When can we expect the memberships feature to launch? And I think you talked about this earlier.
Yes. So the first version is coming later this fall. We're actually launching a beta sign up prior to No-Code Conf. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be a gradual stage rollout. We're not going to do it all at once. So be sure to sign up. We want to make sure to do it really thoughtfully because it's a very complex and powerful feature. We're building it with the community top of mind. So we want to hear your voices. So as you sign up for the beta and as you get access, just want to hear your voices and contribute to the direction and growth of that really important set of capabilities. So again, looking forward to, in a few months, really starting to open that up and get your feedback.
All right. Handi is asking, why does 2021 feel like a very slow year for Webflow? I was expecting a plethora of products coming in.
Handi, thank you for the question. Totally understand the perception externally. Like I mentioned before, it's kind of like this tip of the iceberg of what's actually going on. Internally, our development teams have never been more focused on like some key development development priorities. And like I mentioned, huge work on platform development and migration. A lot of things that you don't see, like hosting infrastructure, where when you hear about it, it's kind of a bad thing. And we're constantly improving behind the scenes. And we're really at this stage of our company over the last 6-9 months have been ultra focused on building for future and scale. And that's not always visible. But as we head towards No-Code Conf, you're going to see more and more velocity with us sharing more and more about what we've been building that I think you'll all be really excited by.
So many exciting things for No-Code Conf. The hype is just building. Okay, Matthew is asking, where do you see traditional hosting companies like WP Engine in 5 years? And the same for WordPress.
They'll be around and probably strong as ever. We're just taking a different path when it comes to hosting. At Webflow, we want to build a very integrated solution where it's a no-code visual development platform where you don't really have to worry about like what hosting is. So we already have this global CDN. We have extremely fast, scalable, secure hosting. You just don't know it's there, and it auto scales to make sure that whether you're hitting like a huge product launch or you're a small business or you're an enterprise client that constantly has millions of visits per day, like it's something that we can handle. And we're investing in hosting not just to compete with other hosting providers, but we want to invest in our hosting just so it's so good that you don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
Like it just works. You press the publish button and your product or your website is live, and you don't have to worry about a third party or having to move stuff somewhere, etc. So it just works.
Okay. Glenn McWhinney is asking, when would you like to see people really considering Webflow as a fully featured web application development tool as opposed to a great web design tool?
Well, first we have to really focus on making Webflow a complete web design tool. There's a lot, as you can see in the chat and in the questions across so many different things that are still missing. So we really want to focus there before fully switching our focus into applications. But we're 100% serious when we say we want to build the world's most powerful visual development platform, which will include applications. Some people are already building really powerful applications with Webflow now, and we're just getting started. And if you, again, tune into No-Code Conf, we'll be covering some versions of this theme.
Okay, I wish we had a counter somewhere on the screen to show us how many times you've said tune in or wait for No-Code Conf. But again,
the amount of times we've talked about adding counters to these streams, whether it's puns or dad jokes, which I think we need to like level up at some point, maybe next time. Somebody has to look into how do we actually like overlay something on the side and give the community a way to like hit an up button in Webflow that goes through interactions.
Someone's gonna make that happen really soon, like in the next 5 minutes.
Community challenge, the power of no code, right?
Oh man. All right, moving on. Next one. Okay, another deep question. Stacy is asking, what's the best color? And I think I know which Stacy this is.
I think I know which Stacy this is too. I always say blue officially, but the correct answer in this case is pink.
Oh,
Hi, Stacy.
okay. All right. Another anonymous. Do you see a change to your pricing structure happening anytime in the future?
Yep. Simplifying pricing is one of our top priorities. We get so much feedback about our pricing, and it's being pretty hard to understand. Have a lot more details later this year.
Okay.
So lots more work happening there.
Okay. Do you plan on supporting more CSS capabilities like clamp, blend modes, calc, etc.?
Absolutely. Something we all want. I can't wait. I think it's just a matter of time and prioritization.
Yeah. I mean, when I felt like out of nowhere, background, what is it, background masking or something like that just
Yep.
came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, finally, I don't have to do custom code or object fit. I was like, yay! So yeah, I can't wait for those, and I think a lot of people in the live
Yep.
chat are waiting.
Personally, calc is one that I'm most looking forward to, but it's pretty complex because you almost have to like write out formulas. And
Yeah.
in Webflow, you can already do some math inside of inputs. Like if
Oh
you
yeah.
type in like 5 plus 10 pixels,
Mhm.
it'll like automatically make it 15 or whatever. But it's not the same as calc, right?
Yeah.
So really looking forward to um, looking into how we can build it. Because for us to build calc properly,
Hmm.
it's not just in one field,
Yeah.
right? You have to figure out how to do it across the board in the entire style panel.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Alex is asking, is there a plan to make it possible to have different contact forms go to different email addresses?
Great question. We know folks want a lot more flexibility there. Big news coming here in this kind of workflow in November. We're working on some systematic ways to make this much better.
Okay. Okay. Don't worry if you want to just say wait
But
till
thank you
no
for your
code conf.
patience.
All right. How do you plan to utilize the Series B funding?
Whew. I mean, big picture, Webflow's mission is to empower everyone to create for the web. And we, as Webflow team members, lead impactful, fulfilling lives while we do that. For us, it's so important to the reason we raise additional funding is to keep working on our mission for as long as possible. And the way we get to that mission is through our vision, which we articulate as building the world's most powerful no-code visual development platform. It's like a huge, huge responsibility, and we're like 5% of the way there, right? Because you all, I'm seeing in the chat, I'm seeing through the questions, there's so much more to build to be like a fully complete visual development platform. And we're going to need a lot of resources to get there. It doesn't mean that we take all of the cash and just burn it right now. We have to invest really thoughtfully in building towards that vision. So we're unlocking specific features, as you'll start to see with things like memberships, but also building like really foundational things like platform, which requires a lot of effort. Like I mentioned, it's like changing the engine as the plane is flying, but not only changing it, but like redesigning the engine without messing a lot of things up because there's so many people that rely on Webflow. So again, we're just scratching the surface. And then there's also a lot of investments that need to go into scaling our team, scaling our community efforts, investing more into this community. Which you'll start to see more and more of, doing things like No-Code Conf, which are easier to pull off with more funding, and really investing into customer support, as you alluded to before. There's just a lot of things we need to do to really level up our customer support and make the experience better for our entire community and our user base. So a lot of investments going there as well.
Okay, thank you. How will you contend with other third-party applications filling in the gaps of all the Webflow limitations, i.e. JetBoost, FinSuite, CMS libraries, Basin, Noble CMS, etc.?
Well, I honestly, I'm not sure who asked the question, but the word contend, it's really not, we don't see it as contending with. Naturally, Webflow will always expand our native features over time, and we'll have gaps. But these tools really help our customers build more and build better. We're never against that. We don't see it as competition. We love to see the no-code community coming together and empower more and more people and solve workflows that we might not be solving natively yet or even in the future. So I just love the energy around the Webflow ecosystem. and just want more of that.
Okay. And speaking of FinSuite, has the FinSuite Chrome extension that just launched changed your plans on designer feature releases?
Again, love seeing the innovation come out of the community. Love the FinSuite team and that extension. It doesn't necessarily change our plans on the designer directly, but always helps us highlight product gaps, of course. But I'm very confident in what our team is working on the designer roadmap. There's just so many things that are core and foundational that are very hard to build outside of Webflow and really require this infrastructure level support. And that's where we're focused. So I'm just happy to see the community really fill in and innovate in the no-code space, especially around the Webflow ecosystem.
Okay. Another one from Nina. She submitted, what happened to Maguire? I do love Grimmer and Sara, though. Just curious.
Nina, I think you're referring to like more lessons being done by other folks. Maybe Maguire's on a secret spy mission, I think. Next question.
I guess that's classified. We got to move on before we get in trouble.
Somewhere around here.
Okay. All right. From the chat, Martin, I think it's Martin. And if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry. Martin H. Can Webflow speed be increased for medium to larger project sites?
I'm not quite sure if this means on published sites or inside the designer, but we're focusing on designer performance, especially when it comes to lots of CMS items right now. There's a lot of speed improvements that we're looking at. If you mean performance for how things are actually rendering on live sites, as far as I understand, like those are usually really, really fast. So if you're having an issue with hosting, definitely raise it with our support team so we can take a look. But we're, thank you for the feedback. We're definitely looking at actively fixing quite a few performance limitations inside of our CMS specifically. So a lot of improvements are coming there.
All right. Why is Webflow so costly?
Good question. I actually believe very strongly that Webflow is fairly priced, especially when compared to much less powerful website builders that are priced around the same. You look at Squarespace, et cetera. That said, there's a lot we can do to make our pricing much simpler, because I know there's a lot of confusion between like site plans, team plans, designer plans, e-commerce plans, et cetera. There's a lot of simplification we can do there, and we're actively working on it. And we're thinking about how to make it more accessible internationally, where purchasing power varies widely. That's a very complex effort, but it is something that we're investigating.
Okay. Another anonymous. When is my start date for my new career with your awesome sauce company?
As soon as you can make it. We're always hiring. Webflow.com/careers. There's some incredible people at this company. I mean, there's so many in this room that you don't see that are making this happen, like Stacy, secretly Maguire, even though he's supposed to be in a secret mission.
Classified.
Miguel's in this room. So many other folks in the chat that make this product and community better every day. So again, Webflow.com careers. Maybe it's sooner than you think. Please apply.
Yeah, if a mod can put that link in the chat, please. Yeah, we would love for you to apply. All right, next one. What is your favorite designer person that inspires you?
Designer person. I love that. There's so many. Sometimes I go to the showcase and look at all the things being created at Webflow, and it just blows my mind. Most recently, though, honestly, Devin Coe is one that comes to mind. She's runs this service or education studio called 3D for Designers that helps other designers really level up and learn 3D modeling and animation. I just find her very resilient and inspiring.
Okay, big ups.
But there are so
Devin
many
Coe.
others that come to mind. It's just the one I can think of off the top of my head right now.
How does Webflow plan to stand out from the rest of the competition, especially those who have now started offering no-code services?
I think I covered this a little bit with the Editor X question, but we keep doing what we're doing. We focus on being the best in class no-code designer that brings speed, flexibility, control over the things that you would expect when building a website and things that are more complex. If you look at our UI and our data layer, the way that we're bringing those together, we're going to keep investing there. I think we're still really, we stand out from the pack in terms of what's possible. We're going to keep investing in our best-in-class education. I think we set the bar there for how to learn a really sophisticated product. We're going to keep investing even more into our community. We really have to level that up. But honestly, at the end of the day, I love seeing all these folks entering the no-code industry with so many new players. It's exactly what we wanted. Remember when we were talking about the with the keynote from No-Code Conf 2019 around trying to inspire others that this industry is just beginning, that it's kind of day one. It almost feels like 1999 when it comes to the web, where it, in many ways, it still felt like a toy and not always solving the most like mission critical things that and a lot of people didn't take it seriously. It's still kind of where we are with the no-code space, but over the last 2 years, so many more players have come in, which is amazing to see. Such a huge market. I keep saying this in various places, but a rising tide lifts all boats. So as this industry increases, we all help each other. So that kind of competition is very healthy. So we're not afraid of it.
The no-code the no-code space, what jazzed me up about it, like why I got so hyped on it, was it felt like the 90s, like you were talking about. It felt like back then in the days when animated GIFs of like dogs running across as your horizontal
and babies dancing.
Or babies dancing.
Or those like
under construction
set on every...
And then remember intro or intro pages with Flash or something where you have to...
I actually... I don't know if I ever shared this. I started most of my web design career with first Dreamweaver and then building Flash intros.
Yeah.
I thought those were like the make it or break it thing.
Yeah.
And now, it's the worst thing you can do accessibility wise for putting in front of your the content that you want people to see on your website. But those are the fun days.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of creativity then.
I know. It's like it felt like big hair 80s ballad rock bands or something, because it was just so out there and like crazy flashy. Well, Flash. But those
one thing
were
I was
days.
kind of a little bit bummed by was that Space Jam, when they released the new movie, they replaced their old site. I think they kept a copy of the original, but when web design was like that was awesome. I mean,
it's
it wasn't
still up, right? That old one?
I think it's still up. It's just not on the main spacejam.com website.
That should be like somewhere in the Smithsonian or something. Like,
I know.
I know. That is an art piece right there that'll live forever.
That's when we designed everything with tables.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't know how many people here were in the web design industry back then, but in Webflow you can go click on a div and add rounded corners. Back then you had to like make a table with 9 cells and move like images with rounded corners, or create like these anyway, we can go down a whole rabbit hole of how we did rounded corners back then. The web is a much better place right now.
Yeah, and the browser wars of Netscape and IE. Those days. Okay, so next question. This one is coming from anonymous. Will Webflow be offering internships for college students in the future? If yes, when?
Good question. We've done a tiny few of these in the past, but we don't have a formal program right now. But we're getting to the scale of company where it's something that we can definitely consider more formally for next summer. So no news right now, but it's something that we're thinking about for sure.
Okay. From the live chat, Josh Jacobs is saying, would love to know what the state of the showcase is and any roadmap updates you could provide on attributing work to the other designers, etc.
So we are starting to invest more into the showcase. Recently, you might have noticed that we added search. We started elevating more of the work that's happening there. We're starting to actually build a team at Webflow that is working actively on the showcase, especially to try to highlight the great work that we're seeing in the community and sharing it more broadly. And celebrating the success of the community and the individuals who are doing all this work is really important to us. So welcome all your feedback there. I think we can share, I'm not quite sure the exact team to channel feedback to, but if you, we'll figure out in the chat how to best provide feedback for the showcase, but it's an area that we really see as being central to our community and our upcoming, just the way that we think about our marketplaces and ecosystems. It's such a key part of creating community online and elevating the great work that's happening in Webflow.
Okay. So another anonymous question. What's the process of releasing new Webflow updates? How do you choose which ones to work on?
Oof. This is different from many parts of Webflow, but broadly, I think some of the common themes are we always start with understanding our users' needs and our customers' needs, spending a lot of time doing research and talking with customers via our product team, our designers, our research folks. We look at things like the forum, wish list, many other sources for input. And I think the key there always is to really focus on pain points and ways that we can drive the most value for people so that you all can be successful with Webflow. And then, of course, you have to design, you have to prototype, you have to like code and build the actual thing, and that takes a while, and then you launch. But generally, that's the process. There's a lot of details in there that I'm missing that make it more complex, but that's generally the approach.
Okay, all right. And I'm looking through the live chat right now. We see you, everyone in the community. Thank you again for being here. There's this one question.
So much I can't read that fast enough.
There's just so many. Let's see here. I just want to take one random question out. And I guess
Could Nelson's shirt be built in Webflow?
That's what I was gonna do. Yeah.
Sorry.
Community challenge right there. Can you build this shirt in Webflow?
That's funny that.
Why did that stick out to both of us right now?
I don't know. Yeah. I'm seeing like more payment methods like Ideal and Molly. Definitely something we're exploring, especially as Stripe, our payment provider, is starting to support more and more international payments, which makes it easier for us. Sorry, that was a little distraction.
It's okay. We want to answer as many questions as possible. Thank you, Zach, for that question. But yeah, if someone wants to show it off in the showcase, show us what you've done, and yeah, we'll take a look. We got a Tim Magdalin. Do you know this person? Tim Magdalin.
Tim Magdalin? That's my youngest brother.
Oh, he's asking,
what?
Will we
Hi,
have?
Tim.
Will we have branded beer?
Wasn't sure you were gonna be here. Hold on, let me grab a little more water.
Okay, go for it.
I can't reach it. Sorry. Our awesome team's gonna help me. Thanks. Miguel's the best.
Yes.
All right, sorry, Nelson, go for it.
Tim is asking, Webflow branded beer?
I totally disconnected myself as I was trying to reach for water. So whatever you just said, pardon the technical difficulty.
Live stream.
Yeah, I know. We're going to do it live. Sorry, what was the...
One more time. Tim's question.
All right.
Webflow branded beer.
No.
All right. Moving on to the next question.
I should have answered that with like, stay tuned for No-Code Conf or something like that.
Oh. I think that's like, we're at 10 or 20 at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. It feels like a really long time since Webflow launched a big feature. What's coming?
I already mentioned memberships. That's a huge
Yeah.
one. We're going to have more releases at No-Code Conf that are
Hmm.
going to be really high impact. Also, honestly, we've heard your feedback that sometimes it feels like we're only working on things that are huge or in the background and not spending enough time incrementally improving existing features,
Hmm.
like things like quality of life improvements, small enhancements, things that continuously make the entire product better and better. So we're actively working on addressing that as well. So we don't want to just focus on big features. I know we've done that a lot in the past. We want to be really holistic and make sure that we're not just dreaming big about big things that we can build for this community, but also shipping a lot of value often.
Okay. From the live chat, another one that was noted, Sam Smith. Vlad, I love Webflow.
Thanks, Sam.
Tell us something about yourself and the team. How has your journey changed your life? Inspire us.
Way to put me on the spot, Sam.
This, this is a deep one.
Yeah, I'm almost like overwhelmed at the challenge. Tell us something about yourself. Um, I mean, the entire Webflow journey has changed my life considerably, right? It has been my life to a degree from all the way back from 2005 when I first had the idea. Um, and I know many of you know this. Like I try to start it 4 different times,
Yeah.
and this last one seems to be working pretty well. So I'm grateful for that. Uh, but it's the whole journey of realizing just this deep responsibility once you know that you can do something better than it actually works in the world right now um, is has been the biggest driving force for me for making decisions that help focus my efforts on others. How can I make other people's lives easier?
Yeah.
And that hopefully is manifesting through Webflow, through this product, through this this incredible team, through this platform. Um, I don't know if that's inspirational. I'm like kind of caught off guard with this question.
Well, I got a
Uh,
question for you on this then.
yeah, sure.
What was that one moment that kind of clicked when you figured out, well, Webflow is a bigger thing that I realized? You know, you were starting off with a landing page
Hmm.
builder, and you got the Y Combinator. You got accepted through Y Combinator. Was that the moment, or the moment when you were working on something inside of while building up Webflow at the journey? Like, what was that one
Yep.
moment?
I think the main aha moment for me was maybe a year after Webflow launched,
Mm.
seeing specifically this startup, this charity called New Story Charity,
Mm.
build something that was kind of Kickstarter like, that was for all intents and purposes kind of like a fake app. It was all designers. They didn't have the engineering resources to build a full on application that did like crowdsourced funding. But it was after the previous earthquake in Haiti, and they really wanted to help folks rebuild their homes and build actual like permanent structures where families could live, so that they're not just living on the street. And seeing that a group of people that didn't have a coding background to be able to get something out into the real world with Webflow and affect real lives and
Yeah.
affect the ability for people to make tangible, like positive change in the world, that to me was like, okay, this is what it's all about. It's not about building the best, you know, piece of software that can create cool things. It's really about empowering others to create things that have real value to other human beings.
Yeah.
And can make their life better and can help them make a living or provide shelter or provide refuge or provide some sort of assistance. And that is really special.
Mm.
Being able to say that you're part of that journey, or that the people on this team are part of the equation of empowering others to make positive change for other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not like selling you know uh, some software that helps somebody make a buck. It's I don't know, you hear
Yeah.
these platitudes all the time, like
Yeah.
makes the world a better place. It really does.
Yeah.
That was kind of the breakthrough that
And
helped
you
me see that
finally
it was,
and
yeah,
you finally
that helped me
saw
see
that.
it.
Go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was just helped me see that it wasn't just about like building a product. It was
Yeah.
really about creating something that empowered others to build products
Yeah.
and make a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like that was the moment where you saw that what you're working on is actually bigger than yourself. Something
For sure.
crazier. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm actually a really small person, so everything is bigger than myself most of the time, objectively speaking. But I see what you're saying,
Yeah.
metaphorically.
Okay. I think that's a half a point for dad jokes. So
Okay, fine.
we have like 25,
Self-deprecating humor
25
coming back to
points for
life.
No-Code Conf, and then 0.5 for other. But all right, so back on the pre-submitted questions. Will we be able to? Will we ever be able to save interactions with classes?
I'm not quite sure what the asker means there. I know you can already target classes with interactions today, or you can target selected elements on the page. You can also target elements that are the trigger themselves. So I don't quite know what that question is about, but check out Webflow University. There's a lot of resources on interactions, and our forum as well. Maybe other folks in the community can help answer that. But I might not be understanding it.
Okay, all right. Maybe
Could also be a reference to like interactions 1.0, where there were things that were a little more class based. I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. Next anonymous question: slider element. The slider element is super inflexible. Plans to update it. This is one of the first components inside of Webflow, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you posted your first video review of Webflow, we didn't even have this yet. We didn't have any components, but we did build this a long time ago. And there's a lot of ways you can tweak and hack around it today to get it to do a lot. But I hear you. And that's actually part of the reason why I'm so excited about all the platform work that we're doing behind the scenes, because it helps create the foundations to build new versions of sliders much faster. So hear you on that. There's more coming.
Okay.
Not exactly today, but check out the forum. There's a lot of ways that people are pushing the slider to its limits.
Yeah, yeah. Next one, anonymous. Multiple designers in the Webflow designer, and I think they're talking about like multiple people in one project, kind of like a Figma doc,
Changing
Google
styles.
Doc.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Thoughts
So
on this?
there's already versions of this with what we released a little while ago, where you can have multiple editors and one designer. So multiple people can edit content at the same time and kind of see presence. But definitely the dream that we're working towards is to have true design, like isolated design control with multiple people at the same time. But there's a lot of things we have to figure out to make that happen. Imagine it's not just like a Figma design where everybody can see the same thing. Think of a 100-page Webflow project with like thousands of items in the CMS, where you change one thing in a class and it changes a lot of things on other pages. So we have to be really careful about that. So there's a lot of things we have to figure out to do that really thoughtfully. But it's as you can see with things that I alluded to before, like polite handover, it's an active area of investment for us because people are building bigger and bigger things in Webflow with bigger and bigger teams. So you need to start thinking about multiple designers, things like design systems and components, and the ways that you share things across many projects and keep them in sync. So there's a lot we're going to be doing there. So thank you for the question. It is the big dream and what we're working towards.
Okay. Collaboration video with Meg and Grimmer was gold. Are we going to
check that out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody can post a link.
Yeah, if someone, a mod can
Kind
post
of tense though, don't you think?
Yeah, a bit. It was really good banter between them. But if a mod can post a link to that video. Are we going to see more of Meg?
I was just in a meeting with Meg yesterday. She's working on the team on some big things. I can't say more than that right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Chasing down client payments. Ooh, this is a good one. I've basically turned into a debt collector. Any plans to integrate Stripe or PayPal through our website so clients can put in credit card and set up a subscription? Yeah.
So we already have a feature called client billing, where you can automatically bill your customers for things like hosting costs. You can even add, you can control things like profit and other charges. Also, the memberships feature we're working on that I mentioned before could be another way to set up recurring billing in a pretty custom way with your clients. So stay tuned on that.
Okay. From the live chat.
Maybe we can post a link to client billing.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure we have a page on it.
Yeah, mods. Please. Okay, so from
I
the
love,
live.
I love that. Mods, go, go.
I said please.
It's like you have an army of mods. Nelson, the mod.
Mods, go.
The mod god.
All right. From the live chat. From Nick. Oh, this one's for me. Nelson, what are you most excited about that is developing in the Webflow community right now? If you've followed me since my first journey into Webflow,
starting in 1972.
What? I wasn't even born.
I think that was your first YouTube video.
YouTube was it, anyways. I've always.
I mean, we can make tutorials and education stuff from the future. So Nelson, come on, we can make anything happen.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like I am standing in my own TARDIS, so maybe
Nelson,
I can make
you're
that
sitting
happen.
down. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sitting in my own TARDIS. Okay. Well,
sorry. I think the question was, what are you most excited about that's developing in the Webflow community right now?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, if you know me, just like I said, when I first found Webflow, immediately it felt like I was 13 again and playing with GeoCities and Flash, and it just opened up a whole new door of just building rather than, oh, can I build this? And when I found my tribe, the people on forum.webflow.com who were geeking out about Webflow, that's what I was most excited about. And it's still what I'm most excited about today. And it's grown so much with all these other sub-communities happening over on other Discord channels, Slack, and other community members just building their own things. And it's hard to keep track of all these communities, and I just love how it's growing. So, I mean, if anything, the community is what gets me most excited every day. And yeah, that's the thing. And I'm most excited for more things. So, yeah, can I say it? I'm most excited for staying tuned for No-Code Conf.
Hey, that's my job.
Okay. I'm just adding another point to the board, wherever the board will be one day. Okay. All right. Anonymous question. Okay, here we go. Favorite movie during COVID lockdown?
Ooh. Nelson, what's yours?
I didn't watch much
Put you
movies.
on the spot.
It wouldn't be a movie. It's just all the Marvel things that were coming out in Disney Plus. You know, I'm just a big Marvel fan, so just every week, whenever WandaVision, I think, if anything, if we can say TV series, WandaVision was my favorite.
Yeah, I couldn't get into those series, maybe just because the first couple episodes, you can all wonder why, but anyway.
We're done.
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed A Quiet Place Part 2. I don't know if I typically don't like really suspenseful movies, but that was really great. And actually, one of my favorite movies of all time, I know
Hmm.
it probably doesn't qualify as a movie, but I think it personally think it's Oscar worthy, and you'll get to see it if you join the Webflow team. We just launched an internal, almost feature-length movie
Yeah.
on our mission, vision, strategy, our culture, core behaviors. Um, Such a fun thing to work on, and I think our entire team loved it. Just happened recently, so it's top of mind.
Okay. All right. Um. Oh, here's a deep one. Here we go. What's something about CEO life that most of us don't know about?
Whew. I always imagined being a CEO as like this kind of glamorous thing that you're, being driven around in different places and you make important decisions and you fly to different headquarters or whatever.
Wait, that's not what you do?
Um, Only on weekends. Just
Oh,
kidding.
okay.
It In actuality, it just ends up being doing the things that nobody else knows how to do, including myself, and trying to figure that out every day. It's almost like being in a temp agency and being dropped into a different company every day and sort of like feeling completely out of your element. So it's a really you always feel completely unprepared in what you have to do next because you're always dealing with bigger and bigger challenges. But it always helps to remember what it's all about, and why this product and community and no code movement is so important, and just keeps it interesting.
Okay, yeah, yeah, very interesting job indeed. All right, so another anonymous. Seeing Webflow invest into accessibility improvements, but when are we going to get real features that we actually care about?
So first of all, I kind of take issue with the way that's phrased, as if accessibility is not a real feature. I absolutely think accessibility is a real feature, full stop. We're not going to stop investing there. And the reason why is over 15% of the world's population has some kind of disability. And I kid you not, at most, only 1% of top websites today meet basic accessibility requirements. And even, at Webflow, we don't do a great job of really changing that towards 100%. So we have a lot of work to do there, and we really can't fulfill our full mission to help everyone create for the web if what people are creating in Webflow remains inaccessible to so many people. So in our eyes, it's a huge problem. We're going to keep investing there. We don't see it as a nice to have, and we see it as real features. It's just table stakes for how we want to build at Webflow.
Okay.
But that said, we also have to build more features that are accessible to everyone, and that's our goal.
All right. From the live chat, Anthony Northcutt is asking, when will the container element default size increase?
So I know you can already do this now manually. It's not by changing. We can't really change the default size without affecting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of sites. You can set a max width on the native container if that's what you need to do. There's quite a bit of resources on the forum that show how people do that. That's some of the difficulty with changing defaults is that once you do, it affects all things going forward, or in the worst case, it affects things that have already been built, which you can't really do. So we have to be really careful about that.
Okay. All right. Oh, this question again. I think we get this every time. What if Webflow goes out of business?
Not happening. And I love how this comes up every single
Every
live
time.
stream. Relatively, relative to WordPress and huge companies, we're still kind of a small fry, but we have made so much progress over the last many years, and Webflow has really healthy cash reserves. We feel so confident about the big bets that we're taking and building towards our vision. We're confident about our stability. Even if there's a catastrophic economic downturn, we'll be able to weather it. In large part because of the awesomeness of this community, how much you trust us to keep hosting and building the things that you're building for the web. I've never ever been more sure about Webflow's future and stability. So we're not going anywhere. Webflow is starting to become while it might not be a household name for everybody across the world, but it's we're not going anywhere,
Right. Glad to
and it's
hear
going to
it.
become a household name.
Yes. Yes. All right. Gregory is asking, is there a course I can take in order to expedite my learning of Webflow? Oh, yeah.
Whew, so many. You can always check out Webflow University. We have some of the best teaching, not only in web design, but in tech, I would say. There's a ton of community resources. There's so many people in the community. I know many folks who are on this call right now. There's Ransigal's
Mm-hmm.
masterclass. There's Charlie Marie stuff. There's FinSuite and all the great tools and resources they're creating. We're going to be trying to do a lot more to actually bring all this together so that you can see it in one place. But there's just so many things that this community is doing to teach others and to elevate others. And we want to make that more accessible. So stay
Yeah.
tuned for that.
Yeah. And I keep saying to everyone that I meet in the community, whatever you learn, no matter if it's something basic that you think is basic, still teach it. Make a blog, make a video, make something. Just share that knowledge and pass it forward because everyone learns in different ways. So again, thank you to all the community members who are creating these resources, and yes, Webflow University. But okay, so that's all the time we have for questions, and there were a lot. But if we didn't get to
There's
yours,
still so much more coming in.
I know. But fortunately, we still have quarterly live streams coming and even more streams coming. So, yes, we'll answer your questions. So, thank you again to everyone who submitted a question, whether pre submitted or in the live chat. And Vlad, thank you so much for your time for answering those.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thank you all for all your questions.
Yeah. So, before we
I think
wrap
we
up,
need to make these like 7 hours long, right? To capture all the questions.
we're going to need more water.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay. Now, before we wrap up the stream, I'd like to talk about a few other updates that the Webflow team has been working on, and to help with your businesses and also to better your experience. So, yeah, let me go here. Okay, so for customer support, we've been listening. We've been hearing your feedback, and we removed the chatbot and replaced it with a new widget that's both helpful to you and our support team. And speaking of our support team, we've welcomed even more support team members. And because of that, the average first time reply has decreased by 33% since April of this year. And they're still not done over that team. They're still hiring even more support team members from all around the world to help you. And
By the way, I
but
just want to shout out to our amazing customer support team.
yes,
It is such an incredibly challenging role to support a very sophisticated product like Webflow with so many diverse use cases that people use it for. And it's not just throw money at the problem kind of thing. You really have to be thoughtful in building a team that is scalable and supported and is trained in a way that can support all of you in the community. And so many people from this community have joined our team
yeah,
and have helped us do a much better job here. And I just want to shout out to that team for scaling so quickly and covering so many customer issues, helping so many people get started with no code. Just so proud of that team.
yeah. Much props to that team. Big hearts. Other updates, the Webflow education team over at university.webflow.com, they've released their new portfolio course. So if you're looking on learning how to create your own portfolio, this is the first course produced by Stacy and featuring Seta. And it's literally the first course from the future. All right, so go ahead and learn how to make your own portfolio by going to university.webflow.com. The forum, if you haven't noticed yet, if you go to forum.webflow.com, that has a new homepage which has a search bar where you can find your answers to your questions much more quickly, and the categories are laid out much more easily for you to scan through. But if you're a power user of the forum, you can still go to discourse.webflow.com to see the old way, to see the old layout, right? And of course, we're still actively taking your feedback, and that's not the end of forum updates. So let us know what you want on the forums, and we'll do our best to make it happen. As far as the showcase goes, if you like to show off your projects or you like to browse for inspiration, that is the place to go. But if you're like me, you remember the name of a certain project, but you can't find it, well, now there's a search bar at the top that will help you do that. And I don't know if we revealed this before, but there was over 870,000 unique views on the showcase for this whole year, just in this year alone. So
I think half of those are from me, if not more.
All of it? Like so half of them for you. Wait, so
I'm like refreshing every 20 minutes.
Wait,
there's a lot of awesome stuff in there.
Is that like your start page for your Chrome browser?
It's actually the only tab I can open on my ultra secure setup here. Just kidding.
They keep it secure. You're only allowed to see the community's projects.
That's right.
Okay.
I communicate through clonable projects.
Ah, okay. All right. So yeah, if you want to get noticed, you will get noticed. Share your projects if you haven't done so already, because everyone in the community is looking at your cool projects. All right. Now, last but certainly not least, getting hyped for No-Code Conf 2021. I am so excited to finally meet the community again in person and of course online. Vlad, how excited are you for No-Code Conf?
I can just do this all day. I'm so excited to be hosting No-Code Conf again. It's going to be bitter, no. Bigger and better than ever. It's not going to be bitter. There's just so much more growth in the no-code space. It felt like 2 years ago when we did the inaugural one. Yeah. It felt like just the very beginning, right? We had to convince a lot of people. 2 years later, no-code is taking off like a rocket. So I'm just thrilled to bring the community together again. We're going to have so many of us online for folks who can make it in person. That'll also be amazing. We have a great venue in San Francisco. And I'm just really, really excited to get the folks who are most excited about no-code, about Webflow, about everything going on in visual development into the same space, virtually and in person for those 2 days. There's going to be some amazing talks, amazing inspiration, a lot of practical advice, a lot of things to learn and to be inspired by. And just this connection piece is really important to me. Just to be there with the community is something I'm most excited by, especially after the last year and a half that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine just taking this hype from the live chat, the communities right here, and bringing it in person and online again for No-Code Conf? Like I can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome. It's going to be so good.
And then Palace of Fine Arts, I've never been, and now, oh my gosh, the photos look beautiful. But yeah, cannot wait. So if you're hyped up too, and you want to learn more about No-Code Conf, we have more details about how to get tickets for online registration or in person, COVID safety guidelines that we will be following that Vlad spoke about earlier, and more. NoCodeConf.com. It's happening November 17th to 18th. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Man. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. But, whew, this has been a stream. This has been a stream. How do you feel, Vlad?
Trying to think of things that rhyme with that. Extreme stream. I don't know. I feel great. It's so good to be back and having these conversations with you, with the community again. It's really refreshing.
Yeah.
And I'm still like deep in thought about how one would build your shirt in Webflow.
Here, let me do a one. Let me do a one shot so people can take a screenshot. So go ahead, screenshot,
Right.
and there you go. And I'm very interested to see. Okay, would you use Flexbox or Grid for this shirt? Ooh.
Um, I'm trying to think of a float joke.
Oh no. I get it because the
It's just not
planets
work.
are
Yeah,
floating.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But you know,
Anyway,
they're floating.
let's clear past that. I don't,
Well, they're positioned relative to each other.
wow, you're absolutely right. That's a top joke. I like your style. I like your style.
Okay, okay, we'll take that one. Well, I'll
Yeah,
take that
yeah.
one. All right. But yeah, that's really all the time we have for this stream. It's been a blast hanging out with you, the community, but I want to give props to the Webflow team. We've reached over 300 team members. That's crazy. And we're still growing. Also, community, big props, big thank you, appreciation, all the things to you. You, the community, has brought us up ever since the beginning. You were here from the beginning, and you brought us up to where we are today, and we can't thank you enough. I sincerely mean that. And thank you to our YouTube mods. Thank you so much. And Vlad, any final thoughts you want to give to the community before we wrap things up?
Before I do, I love how I don't know if your shirt is broken because somebody said it should definitely be fixed.
That-
I don't know what your position is on that.
oh, dude, that Vlad joke board is going way higher than the No-Code Conf.
Had to show up sometime. We had to add some padding between the serious stuff and okay, anyway, and the groans continue. But in all seriousness, what Nelson said about just our team, I'm so thankful to the Webflow team. There's so many people here, 300 plus now, who are actively listening and learning along the way and really engaging with this community. We're just getting started. We want to be more open and honest and transparent. Hopefully you see us resuming these honest conversations as the beginning of that. It's just the first step. And we love this community. We feel the responsibility for just the weight of importance that Webflow's platform brings to this community. It's not just a software product. So many people make a living off of Webflow. So many people are basing their entire business on Webflow, and that's a deep responsibility that we all feel, and we want to deliver to, and make your lives more efficient, more productive, more inspiring, more creative. Just so many more things that we want to do there, and we wouldn't be here without you. If you know, if we had built this product and nobody was using it, and the community wasn't supporting each other and teaching each other and being there to help each other along the way with such a sophisticated, powerful product, like it requires a strong community that is helping elevate the entire ecosystem, and it helps support others, helps others to create. So thankful for you all. Thankful for you, Nelson, for bringing back these awesome live streams, and
pleasure.
really looking forward to future conversations like this. And honestly, hoping to see as many of you as possible online or in person for No-Code Conf. That last plug again.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, thank you, Vlad. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing a lot of love you, Vlad. Thank you, Vlad, in the live chat right now. But yeah, so just like Vlad said, these quarterly live streams, they're not done. This isn't the last one. We're going to keep continuing to make them. And in between each quarterly live stream, we'll be doing even more live streams and different types of live streams. But this is something we're still working on. So, and I'm going to say it, stay tuned to No-Code Conf for more information. And yeah, so you'll know when we come out with a new tutorial or a new live stream. You'll get a notification if you go ahead and click the subscribe button right now and notification bell, and that's when you'll know. All right. So thank you.
Is this where I'm supposed to say like smash that like and subscribe button or something?
Yeah.
I don't know the rules. I've been in a bunker for the last.
Smash it. But anyways, thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you, even if you're in the live chat or you're watching a recording. Thank you so much. That's it for this quarterly live stream. We'll see you in the next one. And thank you. Have a great day.
We love you all.
Yes. And as always, make the web beautiful together. See ya.